Hello, friends. A very good evening to all of you. Today, I want to share a speech on Indian Constitution Day. Now, I will start my speech. Goddess Ma Sarde, Honorable Chief Guest, respected teachers, and all students, a very warm good morning to all of you. I am very excited to get a chance to share few words about the meaning of having a constitution in any nation on the occasion of this special day which is known as National Constitution Day or National Law Day. Constitution is not a lawyer's document, it is a vehicle of life and its spirit is always the spirit of age. It was said by Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. Firstly, I want to recall the text of the preamble. The preamble in its present form reads, "We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. The preamble of the Indian Constitution states that the Constitution derives its authority from the people of India. The preamble declares India to be of a sovereign, socialist, democratic, and republican. The Indian Constitution's preamble specifies justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity as the objectives. It stipulates November 26, 1949 as the date of adoption of the Constitution. The motion on draft Constitution was declared as passed on 26 November 1949 and received the signatures of the members and the President of the Constituent Assembly. Out of a total 299 members of the Assembly, only 284 were actually present on that day and signed the Constitution. This is also the date mentioned in the preamble as the date on which the people of India in the Constituent Assembly adopted, enacted, and gave to themselves this Constitution. Contained a preamble, 395 articles, and 8 schedules. The preamble was enacted after the entire constitution was already enacted. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, the then law minister, piloted the draft constitution in the assembly. He took a very prominent part in the deliberations of the assembly. He was known for his logical, forceful, and persuasive arguments on the floor of assembly. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar is recognized as the father of the Constitution of India. This brilliant writer, constitutional expert, undisputed leader of the scheduled caste, and the chief architect of the Constitution of India is also known as Modern Manu. Some provisions of the Constitution pertaining to citizenship, elections, provisional parliament, temporary and transitional provisions, and short titles came into force on November 26, 1949 itself. The remaining provisions, the major part of the Constitution, came into force on 26 January 1950. This day is referred to the Constitution as the date of its commencement and celebrated as the Republic Day. 26 January was specifically chosen as the date of commencement of the Constitution because of its historical importance. It was on this day in 1930 that Purna Swaraj was celebrated following the resolution of Lahore session December 1929 of the Indian National Congress. The Constituent Assembly ratified the India's membership of the Commonwealth in May 1949. It adopted the national flag on 22nd July 1947. The Constituent Assembly of India elected Dr. Rajendra Prasad as the first President of India on 24th January 1950 and adopted the national anthem and national song on the same day. In all, the Constituent Assembly has 11 sessions over 2 years, 11 months, and 18 days. The constitution makers had gone through the constitutions of about 60 countries, and the draft constitution was considered for 114 days. The total expenditure incurred on making the constitution amounted to 64 lakh rupees. On January 24, 1950, the Constituent Assembly held its final session. It, however, did not end and continued as the Provisional Parliament of India from January 26, 1950 till the formation of the new Parliament in May 1952 after the first general election in 1951-52. On December 13, 1946, Jawaharlal Nehru moved the historic objective resolution in the Assembly and adopted on January 26, 1947. A constitution means a document having a special sanctity which sets out the framework and the principal functions of the organs of government of a state and declares the principles governing the operation of those organs. The constitutional law refers to the rules which regulates structure, functions and interrelations of government organs. The rules are legal as well as include conventions etc. A country may have a constitution but not necessarily constitutionalism. For example, a country where dictator's word is law can be said to have a constitution but not constitutionalism. A constitution ought not merely to confer powers on various organs of government but also seek to restrain those powers. Constitutionalism recognizes the need for government but insists upon limitations being placed upon government powers. The Constitution envisages checks and balances and put powers of legislature and executive under some restraint. Otherwise, it would jeopardize freedom of people and lead to an authoritarian oppressive government. Therefore, to preserve the basic freedom of individual and to maintain his dignity and personality, a constitution should be permitted with constitutionalism. It should have inbuilt restrictions on powers. The constitutionalism connotes in essence the limited government. It is the antithesis of arbitrary power. Only when constitution of a country seeks to decentralize power, the constitutionalism connotes in essence the limited government. It is the antithesis of arbitrary power. Only when constitution of a country seeks to decentralize power instead of concentrating it at one point and also impose other restraints does a country have both constitution and constitutionalism. According to Sedgwick's constitution spring from a belief in limited government. Constitution means a written organic instrument under which government powers are conferred and circumscribed. This stress upon grant and the limitations of authority is fundamental. According to Professor Willey, Western institutional theorists have concerned themselves with problem of ensuring that existence of government power, which is essential to realization of values of their societies, should be controlled in order that it should not itself be destructive of values it was intended to promote. Following are the principles and norms which promote constitutionalism in a country: a written constitution, federalism, democracy, free election, secularism, independent judiciary with judicial review, fundamental rights, doctrine of rule of law, and separation of power. Rule of law implies the absence of authority, the absence of authority's arbitrary power, equality before law, and individual liberties. Presently, in our Constitution, there are 464 articles which are divided into 22 parts and 12 schedules. Constitution of India is a big bag of borrowing, and it has also drawn from various sources. The Constitution of India has borrowed most of its provisions from the Constitution of various other countries as well as from the Government of India Act of 1935. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar proudly acclaimed that the Constitution of India has been framed after ransacking all the known constitution of the world. Thank you. जय हिंद, जय भारत.